Hi. Today, let's discuss something about intermittent fasting. So, intermittent fasting of late is one of the popular fitness option for a losing weight and to prevent diabetes, and also in some cases reversal and remission of diabetes. So many people think intermittent fasting is a fad and it is not backed by science. Not true. Intermittent fasting is completely backed by science and it is nothing like something which is unusual. So let's start historically, little bit I'll give a proper history of how intermittent fasting works. If you take the ancient times, you take any religion, whether it's Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, or a Jews, in every religion there is a concept of fasting. In Hinduism we call Sankashti, Shivaratri, people fast for so many days, and in Islam Ramzan fasting, and Christianity Easter. You take every religion, the fasting is followed from millions of years. The fasting, people doing fasting is not something new. And if you go still before this agricultural revolution, in the pre-nomadic era, when the people were living in the forests as nomads, even then fasting was unknowingly practiced, because the people were living as a nomads. There was no guarantee for the food intake, like we have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. For them, there was no guarantee. Whenever they get a food in terms of some nuts, seeds, or any fruits or any meat, they used to feast. They used to eat a lot, and till they get a next food, they have to fast. They have to fast because of this evolution. And those days, when there was no light after 6 p.m., obviously from 6 p.m. to next to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, till they get a food, prepare it and eat it, it's a completely fasting time. So human evolution itself is a fasting and feasting, fasting and feasting. And when it comes to the religion era, little advanced era, agriculture era, when religion has started, even then every religion has followed the fasting. So why I'm telling all these things? Absolutely don't worry about ill effects of fasting. Fasting is an ancient health secret, and fasting is good for health, and it has very many more benefits. But this intermittent fasting is little scientifically explained, scientifically followed, and if you have to know how to do fasting, how to start fasting, how to end fasting, and you also have to know when not to do fasting. So with this, I'll sit. So, so normally the commonly popular intermittent fasting schedule is 16 hours fasting. Some people do 18 hours fasting, and very rarely people will also do 24 hours fasting. So here I'll explain the timeline. What happens during the fasting? See, I written first 4 to 6 hours. First, suppose you had 7 o'clock in the evening, you finished your dinner. By around 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, your blood sugar level falls. Matlab, your stomach gets emptied. The food moves downwards and your blood sugar falls. And when the blood sugar falls, automatically insulin level falls in the body. As we know, if the insulin levels goes low, it's always good. And for next 12 hours, 12 hours matlab, you had dinner at 7 o'clock, next day morning 7 o'clock. By 12 hours of complete fast, digestive system completely goes to sleep. So we always keep giving some work to digestive system. we keep having some food, snacks, drinking something. But exactly after 12 hours, if you don't eat anything, the digestive system go for a sleep, then actually the healing process will start. So many people have these gastric issues, gastric or some digestion issues. The people keep telling that my gut is not healthy. See, the gut to be healthy, first we have to give some rest to the gut. If you don't give a rest to the gut, suppose you had dinner at night 10 o'clock and you have to go to the office in the morning, you have breakfast at 7 o'clock, you are not even given 8 hours gap to the gut. So how the gut heal? So if you have a 12 hours gap, then the digestive system go for a sleep and healing starts. Apart from healing, there are other two important things happens for a 12 hours fast. Why I am specifying 12 hours is the 12 hours absolute fast can be done by anybody and it's a must for everybody. That means if you have a dinner at 8 o'clock in the night, till next day 8 o'clock at least, be with the absolute fast except water. And one more thing happens is human growth hormone start increasing at a 12 hours fast. And glucagon balances the sugars. Glucagon matlab whenever the body sugar goes low, so the body want to compensate. That matlab many people think that if I fast, my sugar level drops and I'll become dizzy and all. No, it doesn't happen for a normal people. So diabetic, the different thing I'll explain later. For normal people, even if you comfortable fast for 36 to 48 hours, the body will compensate to maintain your sugars. So don't worry about it. So this glucagon is a hormone which helps to balance your blood sugars whenever your sugar goes low. And why you need a human growth hormone? Human growth hormone in adults helps in a muscle growth. It helps in weight loss. It helps in metabolism. So at the 12 hours of fast, human growth hormones start increasing and glucagon balances the sugars. So this is one. So I recommend everyone to do a 12 hours fasting. So what next? Okay, 7 o'clock, you are not hungry, you don't want to break the fast, you continue till 14 hours. 14 hours of fast, then the body, there is no glucose available because your stomach is empty, the blood sugar goes low, then the body start using a stored fat in the body. So we have excess stored fat in the abdomen, in the waist, and inside the abdomen there is a visceral fat. So body start using a stored fat. It starts by 14 hours of the fasting, and this is how it helps in a weight loss and diabetic prevention. At 16 hours of fasting, the fat burning starts. That's why the most intermittent fasting protocol focus on 16 hours fast. But obviously don't try to do 16 hours fast at the beginning. First practice 12 hours of absolute fast and then go to 14 hours and then gradually go to 16 hours. And this 12 hours you don't have anything except a water. After 12 hours you can have some electrolyte water, green tea, some herbal teas or a black coffee. Okay. If you still extend till 18 hours, then it is very, very beneficial. Your growth hormone skyrockets and which helps in very good weight loss, metabolic reset and also a muscle growth. Many people think that people who do fasting will lose muscles. That's not true. Because in the fasting, human growth hormone increases, your muscle mass will increase or it get preserved. So it will never decrease. Okay, still occasionally suppose you want once in a week or 10 days you want to do 24 hours fast, then autophagy begins. So in 2017 I feel there is one Japanese scientist awarded a Nobel Prize for this autophagy. And autophagy is simple terms, in a layman terms I'll explain. Autophagy matlab removing the debris of the body, including your toxins, cancer causing cells or any free radicals. Removing the toxic debris of the body that's called as autophagy, that start after 24 hours of fasting. And this autophagy increases to 300% at 36 hours of fast. This is little difficult. I don't recommend to do 24-36 hours routinely, but once in a while, once in 2 months, 3 months, when the things are good with you, you can do 36 hours of fasting. So beyond that, I don't recommend. And if you do beyond that also, there are a lot of benefits, but it has to be done under a medical supervision or under the supervision of fasting expert. So this is about the basics of intermittent fasting. So in the next video, I will tell about how to start and some tips about intermittent fasting. That's it. Hi. So in the last video, I explained about the timeline of fasting, how fasting is a science, how fasting benefits in overall health. In this video, I give some practical tips like how to start fasting and how to sustain intermittent fasting. So there are various methods of fasting. I recommend any kind of fasting is good for health. Any kind of fasting, whether you do 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours or 24 hours. But more the fast, more benefits. But depending on your health status, depending on your comforts, you have to strategize. And if any doubts before starting a fasting, you can take an opinion of the expert who are having some experience with the fasting. So personally, I am doing this intermittent fasting for many years, and I motivated and helped many people to start fasting, and some of even diabetic patients are fasting under supervision. So to start with, so when you start a fasting, first you fix your last eating time. For example, if you eat very late, for example eating at 10 o'clock, then even if it is 12 hours fasting, it becomes next at 10 o'clock. So at least if you want to start fasting, I suggest you finish your dinner as early, at least 8:30 you finish your dinner. If it is still better, finish at 7 o'clock. Suppose if you eat 7 to 8 o'clock, evening 7 to 8 o'clock you finish your dinner, by next day 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock it becomes 12 hours. So 12 hours absolute fast is the best, and start initially 12 hours is enough. When you begin the fasting for 1 or 2 weeks, only do 12 hours fasting. That's completely absolute fasting. Matlab, from night 8 o'clock to next 8 o'clock, you drink only water, nothing else. And once after 1 or 2 weeks, you are used to this 12 hours fasting and you don't have any cravings and other things, then slowly go to 13 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours. So 16 hours is good, and some days you can extend up to 18 hours. And at least once in 10 days or a week, when you are not occupied, you are completely free, then you can do complete 24 hours fast. So don't start suddenly don't start anything in extremes. When somebody says that I'm doing intermittent fasting, I want to lose weight, I want to reverse my diabetes, I want to be healthy, don't suddenly start with the 24 hours fasting. Even though you can, but slow gradually so that you understand it better. So that's one thing. Always start with a 12 hours fast. So second thing is, during the fasting stage, usually the body goes for a little dehydration because you're not eating anything. So the water content will be less. So the most important thing in the fasting state is hydration. See here, this is the difference between a fasting and a starvation. In the fasting, you're voluntarily doing fasting for the health benefit. Starvation is involuntary. You don't have anything to eat, that's why you're doing fasting. Sometimes you're not even having water also. In the fasting, to keep your body hydration, have enough water. First 12 hours, I recommend having only water. You can have, there are maximum, if you feel anything dizzy or a cravings, you can have electrol water. So apart from this, don't have anything. After 12 hours, for example, evening 8 o'clock you started fasting, morning 8 o'clock you want to go for exercise, you want to go for a walk, anything, you can have a black coffee without any sugar or honey. So you can have black coffee, you can go for a regular walk or exercise or yoga. Many people think that in a fasting state, I have to go for a walking or yoga, I become dizzy, I cannot. See, unless you're doing a athletic training, very vigorous exercise and all, you can easily do regular yoga exercise in a fasting state and you'll be more alert actually. So don't worry, you can 8 o'clock we have black coffee and you go for a regular walk or exercise or a go. Even going to gym also is okay. Unless you are very, very rigorous training, you can easily manage regular exercise with a normal fasting state. And after 12 hours, you can have black coffee, green tea, any herbal water, but don't try to have milk or any other juices. So having some juices or a milk obviously breaks your fast, because anything which contain more calories, more than 30-40 calories, will break your fast. So many people ask this, what are the fasting fluids you can take? The first is water, second is electrol water, third is a green tea and black coffee and some herbal waters like turmeric water, jeera water, like this. So in Western countries, they also take this bone broth. They can, in the fasting time, they also take a bone broth. But Indian settings, these are enough. So this is about hydration during a fasting. Then comes third is consistency. So if you properly plan according to your lifestyle, which works better for you. Either you want to delay the breakfast or you want to skip the dinner. For example, if you have started fasting at 8 o'clock, matlab 8 o'clock you had a dinner, to do 16 hours fasting, you almost have to skip your breakfast. So skip your breakfast and by 2 o'clock, the 16 hours fasting will be completed. Suppose you want to see like, I cannot skip the breakfast, then you can follow like you have a breakfast at morning and night, evening like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you finish your dinner. So that evening 6 o'clock to next day 10 o'clock, your 16 hours is completed. So the best form of fasting as per research, as per scientific evidence is have early dinner and late breakfast. Like for example, you finish your dinner by sharp 7 o'clock and next day 11 o'clock you have your breakfast. Evening 7 o'clock to next day 11 o'clock is the best fasting time. And in that fasting time, you can have at 11 o'clock, you can have your breakfast. And then 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you can have your lunch and dinner at 7 o'clock. During the eating window, that means if you are fasting from evening 7 p.m. to next day 11 o'clock, your eating time is 11 o'clock to 7 p.m. In that eating time, you can have either 2 meals or 3 meals. That's up to your comforts. So then is sleep. So when you're doing fasting, it is a kind of a acute stressful state. Your cortisol hormone level goes high. So if we have a good sleep, then you won't feel that. So to get a maximum benefits of the fasting, you have to have a good sleep. But many people whom have started doing fasting, they come and complain to me, my sleep get disturbed while doing fasting. Suppose if I start my fasting at 7 o'clock and I'll wake up at 1 o'clock hungry. So this happens for a few days and over a period of time, you won't feel that hungry. And how to avoid hunger during the 12 hours of fasting? To avoid hunger, in your last meal, that is 7 o'clock meal, have a good amount of fiber, a good amount of protein and a whole foods. If you have a food good in a paneer or any eggs and non-veg with lots of vegetables, your stomach is full and that sustains for a long time. Suppose if you have only the rice chapati kind of stuff, only refined carbohydrates, you feel again hungry after 4 5 hours. And don't wake up till late nights. Suppose you start fasting at 7 o'clock. If you wake up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock some work, then obviously you feel hungry. So make a proper sleep schedule. You sleep at around 10 10:30, and then till morning 7 o'clock you are not even aware you are doing fasting. So maintain a proper sleep routine during fasting, and when you are awake too late, then obviously you end up in having food again because of the cravings. And then who cannot do fasting? So preferably anybody less than 18 years, pregnant women, lactating females should not do fasting. And people who are on any kind of a stress, it could be a physical or emotional or a mental stress, already they are in an acute stressful state. Such people that at that particular point of time should avoid fasting. Even I recommend women during the menstruation time, better not to do fasting those 4 5 days or a 1 week, because that is little acute stressful state where a lot of hormonal variations will be there. Avoid fasting during that time. Apart from that, rest all categories people, you can easily do fasting. And one more thing people ask, like how to break fasting. See, if you're doing just 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours of fasting, you will break your fasting with a normal food only. Suppose if you do extended fasting, like 24 hours fasting, 36 hours fasting, or beyond that, then you break your fasting first with some liquids, some fruit or some fruit juice or some smoothie, and then gradually start eating whole foods. Immediately after breaking a long period of fasting, should not binge the food. Start slowly and have your food adequately. Otherwise, for regular 60 to 18 hours of fasting, there's nothing happens even if you have a normal food after breaking the fast. So these are some of the fasting tips. One is first start with the 12 hours, hydrate well, maintain some particular consistency regular fasting. Like for example, today you are doing fasting from 7 p.m. to next day 11 o'clock. Next day, don't change the routine. And last thing is, don't expect immediately I started fasting next week, don't expect the results. If you consistently start following a fasting for a few weeks, 3 4 weeks, then you get health benefits start maximizing. And this is one of the wonderful health tip. Intermittent fasting is ancient health secret, and now it is backed by a science. Hi, today in this short video, I'll explain how fasting will beneficial for a diabetic people, or are they really can do fasting or not. The number one, if you are a pre-diabetic or a very mild diabetes, maybe HbA1c 6.5 to 7, you still not started a fast many medications, you can comfortably do intermittent fasting. You have definitely have more benefits in remission or reversal. And you start your intermittent fasting along with a low carb diet, that is give a double advantage. Number two, suppose you're already on medications, diabetic medications, then you have to know as per your doctor which medication you are taking. Like if you're taking some medication like a sulfonylureas, then they have high chance of getting a low sugars if you follow the regular fasting state. So I suggest not to do fastings, intermittent fasting more than 12 hours if you're already on a diabetic medications which causes low sugars. And some medications like DPP4 inhibitors, SGLT2 inhibitors, where I have seen many of my diabetic patients can continue fasting up to 12 to 14 hours, but not beyond that. Then it can be more or less managed if you're not on many medications. And if you're on a simple metformin, If you're simple metformin, you can do a fasting like a up to 16 hours. And if you skip the medicine, and you can do fasting up to 18 hours. But if you're diabetic, if you're already on diabetic medication, my advice is you take opinion of your diabetologist who knows about fasting, so that you can optimize your medications according to the fasting schedule. And third category, if you're already on some kind of insulin, high dose of insulins and all, then your chance of getting low sugar is more. Then my suggestion is don't go for intermittent fasting. You just start with a proper diet. And if you start doing regular intermittent fasting with your already in the high insulin and all, the chance of low sugars and other complications are more.